And now, from your First Coast News leader, we have breaking news with Michelle Painter.
We have breaking news coming in from multiple sources that an unexplained cosmic event of some sort is taking place. No one has been able to identify the specific location, but there seems to have been bright flashes of light and a gathering of clouds with what appears to be a man coming down from the heavens. We are trying to get video footage for you now, but from all reports, it is the most spectacular thing anyone has ever seen. We'll wait with you anxiously to see what happens next and continue to bring you the latest as it becomes available. Pastor Ken, can you shed some light on this?
Well, today we come to the conclusion of the 11th hour, and this is the kind of sermon I've been looking forward to because it's been a tough study, to be honest with you. As you go through the books of the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, and you see how kind of it all fits together, then you begin to understand kind of where we are today in our culture. When it was last week, I went to the doctor and I was having a neck procedure, and I was laying down and they were getting ready to shoot me up with some stuff, and I'm laying there, just thinking, okay, is this going to hurt, And the doctor walks in, and the first thing he asks me, he says, "Reverend, is the Antichrist alive?" I'm thinking about my neck right now. And you thinking about who? And so, you go from the doctor's office and you go around to, you visit people, and everybody has this sense that something is not right, even in our day and age. Last night I was flipping through the channels, and I think it was around 9 o'clock, came across Fox, and there was a guy by the name of Glenn Beck on there. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he had a special on there. He called it The War Zone, and it is a depiction of what could happen in America in 5 years. These are experts, folks. These are people that prepare for the worst scenario if everything falls apart in our country. Hope and pray it doesn't, but if it does. And as I listened to them, I almost thought, have you been listening to our sermons? Because that's kind of what's going to happen. So we are living in that day. There's a great deal of anticipation. Everybody senses something. Everybody's beginning to think about it. And so today we're going to talk about, the 11th hour, and we're going to talk about this last part. And when you live life, you have to know that there are peaks and valleys. There are those that are here today, and you would say, "Pastor, if you would have asked me today, because of what I'm going through in my relationships, maybe you're going through a divorce, you would say that, life is just taking a nosedive." And today you would say, "I don't feel like I'm on the winning team," because today we're going to be talking about, in the end, you win. Or maybe you're here today, and maybe, all your life or most of your life, you've been healthy. You've tried to do the right thing with your body. Maybe you've even exercised, and maybe you even, ate the right foods, and all of a sudden you go to the doctor, and the doctor gives you a diagnosis and a prognosis that is not good. You were way up here, and now you're down here. I got good news for you. In the end, we win. You may be here today, and maybe you're single, or maybe you're a single parent, and you're living in a culture today that in a lot of ways either neglects you or overlooks you. Maybe not purposely, but that's the way you feel. And life is so tough. You feel alone, and you feel isolated. And you would say, "Pastor, I don't feel like I'm on the winning team today." Well, I've got good news for you. In the end, we win. I know there are a lot of you here today, and this is your story because of the day and age. "Pastor, I had my whole career, just matched out for me, a chosen path. I went to college, worked hard at the corporation I was employed with, kept all the rules, did all the right things, sacrificed for my family. And one day they walked in recently and they handed me my pink slip. And I don't have any benefits. I don't have any job security. And there was a time when you were way up here and you felt like, life was victorious. And today you're way down here. And you say, I don't feel like I have anything left. Good news, in the end, we win. When I was about 12 years of age, I got to play on a football team. And most of you who come here, you know I've got a memory problem, but for whatever reason, God's given me this little nugget, and I just carry it around with me all the time and probably talk about it too much. I don't know when the last time I talked about this, but bear with me if you've heard it before. But we have won 10 games. We were undefeated. And back then, they didn't have regional playoffs. I think it was called Pee Wee football back then, and things now are a little bit different. But we were considered to be the second-ranked team in the state. And there was a number one team ranked in Miami, and they were also 10-0. And so they decided we were going to have the state championship, and we were going to play it in Fort Myers, Florida. And I don't know why this was true, because back then I was not the biggest guy in the world, but I guess I ran scared, so I was a running back. And I was afraid of all those guys, so I just run. And but we were losing the game. It was in the fourth quarter, and we were losing 20-14. And we got the ball back one more time. We're on the last play. Now, for those of you who played football, you know a little bit about this, that the coach always has a game plan. Now, when you're 12 years of age, you don't understand that very well. All you understand is you better do what the coach asks you to do. That's all you know. Otherwise, when you get back to the bench, it's not going to be a pleasant experience. So, but for whatever reason, they kick the ball off to us. We're losing. We're a touchdown behind. And the coach decides to give me the ball every time. Now, I don't know, folks, if you've ever been in a football game and you're in the fourth quarter and you've been running the ball, you're pretty tired. You're just exhausted. He gave me the ball every play. And I don't know how many plays, I can't remember how many plays it took for us to go from our end of the field down to their end of the field, and we're in the scoring zone. That's usually like around the 20-yard line. And I'm in the huddle, and I'm breathing so hard, I don't know if I can take it one more time. You know, I don't understand it. And you don't just look back at the coach and go, you know, like that. So you just do it. But then all of a sudden, he does something that he hasn't done the whole series. He calls a pass. And you know, that whole team, the other side, was thinking, well, this guy's been carrying the ball for like 10 times here. Surely he's going to get it again. And you know what? The quarterback dropped back, threw the perfect pass, scored a touchdown, and we won the state championship. Well, I tell you, that was victory. That was. I was on the ground. I had 8 guys on top of me. I couldn't see anything that was going on. But you know what? I know what it is to be on a winning team. Today, when you leave here, I want you to know that you're on a winning team. I want you to know God has something prepared for us, and the Bible talks about it. We're going to look at several of the verses, but there are basically 2 places in the Bible it talks about this. It's in the New Testament. It's found in Matthew chapter 24. If you have your Bible, you might want to turn there. Matthew 24, remember, this is kind of where we stopped last week. These are Jesus' words, by the way, for those of you that may have a hard time trying to imagine this event occurring, but these are Jesus' words. And remember, we talked about last week, the Great Tribulation has taken place at this point. 7 years of hell has just taken place on this earth, and we talked about all that, and we don't have time to go into it. But notice what Jesus says the next event will be. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not shed its light. The stars will fall from the sky, and the celestial powers will be shaken. Remember last week we talked about, you know, all the things that will happen on earth. You know, this past week, all of us will probably remember there were 2 stories that made national news about the heavens. One of them was